This is Treetown Sound with Matthew Altruda on Ann Arbor's 1071.
We are wasting no time today on this beautiful Sunday. You're tuned into Treetown Sound. I am the host, Matthew Altruda. This is my radio show on Ann Arbor's 1071, where I dive deep into Michigan music, past, present, and future. As you know, every once in a while I get super lucky and have musical guests in studio. And today is no exception. A longtime collaborator of Treetown Sound, almost like, one of the biggest voices within this show. I would say he's even a contributor to the show. He's hosted this show. He's also happens to be the drummer of one of my favorite bands ever. Please welcome to the air, Mr. Dr. Ross Federman. How's it going, brother?
Good. It is good to be back. It's good to see you. It's good to be back in Ann Arbor. It's good to be back in Michigan.
Right? Go blue, baby.
Go blue.
So we're going to start off this show today with Biz Markie cover of Just a Friend that Tally Hall did. And as the listeners know, Biz Markie passed away. And I wanted to play this last week, but I knew you were coming in studio, so I saved it for today. When was this song recorded?
Oh, our cover of it?
No, the original.
The original.
I'm quizzing you,
I don't know.
Yeah, your cover.
Oh, our cover? I don't even know. I don't even know that. But I will say this, I don't know, to people who saw a lot of our shows, they would know that we ended almost every single show with this. This was sort of our go-to encore.
Yeah, that and Freebird.
Yeah, one of the two. But this song really this held a special place for all of us in the band, and I think for a lot of people, and it's kind of one of those things that was, this really just sort of permeated society all around in every way. It was just one of those songs that just for whatever reason was one of those things that brought like joy to so many people.
Right? It really did. Everyone can relate with the song too. It's like it hit perfect at a perfect time in the 80s. When you heard about Biz Markie passing away, it was like, did you guys text each other like, oh my God, like did like Zubin was like finally reach out, or did Joe get upset? Was there any communication within the band?
I don't think there was much, actually.
No.
I think, for me, it was probably the middle of a work day.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. But, I don't know. It's
whose idea was it to cover this?
That I don't even remember.
Is there anything you do know, Ross?
Yeah. Well, I'm going to be no good to you on the show today, man. But I don't know. It's like, it's just one of those perfectly charming recordings.
Yeah. If I had to pick, I think this was Rob's call.
You might be right. It might, I think they were covering it before I joined the band.
We'll have to find out. If you know more information about this that we can enlighten Ross with, you can tweet me at Treetown Sound. All right, let's start off proper and special dedication to the life of Biz Markie and the millions of people he influenced, the thousands and thousands of rappers he mentored and just helped within the industry. You hear it all from Questlove all across the board, just how influential he was as a human for artists in their lives and for all the Tally Hall fans too. This is Tally Hall's cover of Just a Friend, special dedication to Biz Markie. Off the Marvin's Marvelous Mechanical Museum from 2005, that is Greener, written by none other than Mr. Rob Cantor, but it is not his most popular Tally Hall song, as Ross just informed me. What is his most popular song, Ross?
I believe that would be Never Meant to Know.
Nice. And if you didn't know that, now you know. We should
maybe people were never meant to know which
they weren't.
Song was. Yeah,
people just don't have the tally analytics that you have, Ross. I'm sitting here with Ross Federman, the drummer of Tally Hall, who is also a immunologist, scientist, and does have a Yale degree, currently living in Boston. If you have any questions about infectious diseases, you cannot tweet them to me right now because you'll probably spell every word wrong.
Or pronounce them wrong.
Yeah, true. How often do you get calls with people with questions about the pandemic?
Calls?
Like, does
like
your
people
family?
I know. Yeah. Okay. Less now, but certainly when things were starting.
Yeah, because I called you all the time with my pandemic
and I was happy. I think it's hard to get. It's not hard to get information. There's a lot of information out there, right? It's hard to know who to trust for that information. So
True.
I was more than happy to be a trustworthy source for people that knew me and knew that they could trust what I was telling them.
And viruses are viruses. People have been studying them forever. They follow a pretty scientific master plan, right?
The crazy thing is there are so many different types of viruses that even one can be nothing like another. And actually, they've been around for a very long time. We've only really known about them for 100 to 150 years.
How long have you known about them for?
I guess whenever I took a biology class that first introduced them. But I mean, I guess we all know about them when we get a cold, right? As kids,
true.
you just you don't have any real context for what is that piece, what corner of life exists that is that weird little thing that gets us sick a lot.
So you currently are following the news right now with the pandemic, with the Delta virus. You are a PhD immunologist working professionally in the industry. I don't want this show to be too much about the virus, but do you have any advice for the listeners out there with everything you know right now?
Yeah, my biggest advice would be if you are of the age that you should be vaccinated, then definitely go and get vaccinated. Yeah, that's the best advice I can give right now.
Yeah.
They're very effective. They're safe. They're really the only thing. I mean, honestly, the vaccines were rolled out in the nick of time with how much more contagious the Delta variant is from the original strain. And we're lucky we have the vaccination numbers that we have in this country right now, or things would be considerably worse.
Oh, yeah. If we didn't have vaccinations with the Delta virus, oh my God.
Yeah, but even with that, pay attention to what's happening in your neighborhood. If you're in an area where you're seeing cases on the rise, think about wearing your mask inside again, even if you are vaccinated. I think initially everything looked like vaccinated people can't really spread the virus, but, with the Delta variant, we don't have nearly as much data. It's possible that it's a lot more spreadable as a vaccinated person for the Delta. So, just stay vigilant. That's all I got to say.
Do you know why they named it the Delta virus and not like the Southwest virus or Spirit Airlines
I think so. They did. This was a concerted effort to name them sort of in order as opposed to by region. Because I think there might be a connotation to
yeah, true. This is the Columbus, Ohio virus.
Yes.
That's what they should name them all, just places in Ohio.
The Buckeye virus.
The Buckeye virus. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. All right, so I opened up to questions on Twitter, asking people if they had any questions for you. One of them was, what artists are firing you up right now? And we put one of those artists in, who is because it's Rob Cantor's cousin. And this song has special place because it talks about reel-to-reels. And in this Friday night in downtown Ann Arbor, Michigan, we are putting together a party called Sonic Disco, which is brought to you by the Bank of Ann Arbor, kind of the kickoff for Sonic Lunch. And you're doing something extremely different that most DJs could never do or comprehend or even have the equipment or the music. What is your DJ set this Friday night, Mr. Ross?
Yeah, so I came to town with some highlights from my reel-to-reel collection. I'm going to be playing music on 2 old reel-to-reel tape players for a couple hours, and assuming they still work. They're very it's old technology, so it's
dueling reel-to-reels. And for those who don't know what they are, they look like the old movie films. If you watched Loki, it's what they listen to music on. And you're going to have 2 of those, so you're going to be changing those reel tapes.
Yep.
And feeding the tape through. Yep. Man, and you're going to be mostly doing like stuff of Motown and some old soul dancing.
Yeah, it'll be a lot of stuff from the 60s through the 70s, and not all Motown. There's a lot of Motown in there, but then there's a lot of other Northern soul, artists from Detroit that may have been on Atlantic, like Aretha Franklin was signed to Atlantic, not Motown, but we kind of consider her Motown.
Without a doubt.
And there will be some stuff a little bit later in the 70s too. The really interesting thing for some of these, it's the original mixes, right, that were released onto tape in 1968 or 9, and so you kind of I grew up hearing digital remastered versions of Beach Boys songs, for example, on the oldies station. And when I got my hands on some of these tapes, I'd listen, and it'll be interesting to see how much people really want to dance to it when you realize all I can hear is vocals and guitar, and claps, and they're just the way that songs were mixed then is very different, and that is trapped in time on these tapes.
It's analog at its finest.
It's analog at its finest. Some of them sound kind of not the greatest because they're old, and
But that's the charm of
That's
them.
the charm.
That is the charm, and we're gonna have a huge PA. That's speakers for those who aren't in the industry. We're gonna have lights. Closing out the night is Michael Dykhouse from Ghostly International. It's gonna be a roaring dance party. It's free. It's all ages. You just got to come down to Washington Street off of Main Street in beautiful downtown Ann Arbor, Michigan. This Friday night starts at 7 p.m. Music goes to 11 p.m. or later. Who knows? If you're a police officer listening right now, it's going to end at 10:59. That's fair to say, right, Ross?
Yeah. Weren't you with me at the Girl Talk show that they were slowly turning one speaker off at a time until all the sound was coming off just the stage monitors and people were still dancing?
That was a train wreck. Okapalooza.
What a
the
one and done.
The one and done,
Unfortunately.
like Bone Thugs and Harmony played like 40 minutes over their set. Their headliner didn't get to go on. All of a sudden, it was just his monitor mix.
Yeah. Well, because they made the fatal mistake of with a rain, there was like a rain delay, and they like let it push back everything forever, as opposed to saying, okay, we have to cut and get back to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because then basically the sets for all the headliners got cut. And that's who most people were there for.
Everyone was there for it. People were so upset. I remember Girl Talk saying not so much flattering things about that festival. But take the good, take the bad, take them all, and then you have facts of life. Talking to Ross Federman from Tally Hall right now. All right, well, let's set up this next artist, Ross. It's Junior Junior. You're obviously a big fan. You picked this song. Why did you pick it?
Yeah, I guess I love, well, first of all, I love this whole album.
Yeah.
It's like, for me, some like Vampire Weekend meets Simon and Garfunkel meets Spoon a little bit, and some Wilco. So many of my favorite bands and musicians. It's like, it's just kind of all there on it's a double record too, so it's just like full of all these great tracks. But I remember hearing them live at the first Trevor before ever listening through the record. I don't even know if the whole record was released yet. And I couldn't tell from the sound check if he was saying it's hard to find a tape for your reel to reel. And I immediately went up and asked, I was like, is that the lyric? And then I realized that all the lyrics, a lot of them are about reel to reels. And I just kept thinking, I feel lucky. I never have that hard of a time finding a tape for my reel to reels.
You're not going to have a hard time this Friday when you DJ for Sonic Disco this Friday night on Main Street in beautiful downtown Ann Arbor, Michigan, brought to you by the Bank of Ann Arbor. This is Junior Junior with RIP R&R. Helps if I turn on my mic. One of two songs written by Zubin in the Tally Hall catalog. That is The Trap off of Good and Evil. The other song that Zubin wrote is Cannibal, which you already know. Quick shout out to my sponsors, as always, the Bank of Ann Arbor and Sonic Lunch. Join us at Sonic Disco this Friday night in downtown Ann Arbor. And Orion Automotive Services. They've been loving cars since 1994, providing automobile maintenance and repair services for European, domestic, and Asian vehicles. You've obviously made a huge investment on your car. Go see Rich at Orion.
And if you're having car problems, I feel bad for you, son. I got 99 problems, but Rich ain't one.
That's right. Rich is not one. Bring your car into Orion Automotive Services, conveniently located on Jackson Road across the street from the BMW dealership, OrionA2.com. Next segment, when we come back, we're going to be hearing from some songs I've never played before and a big hit, which I think will be songs that Ross Federman has produced. All of that right after this on Treetown Sound, Ann Arbor's 107.1. Some deep Ann Arbor roots right there. That is a brand new song from a brand new band, Knock the Vandal, with Been So High, who you may know, Shane Moe, who is singing there from Miracle Musical. He's the rapper on Labyrinth, and also from Bellicose from his many days rocking Ann Arbor and the Blind Pig. Definitely Bellicose and Tally Hall were definitely rocking the Blind Pig at the same time. I'm a big fan of Bellicose.
We also shared a rehearsal studio in Brooklyn with them. I don't know if you ever knew that.
No, that makes total sense.
Yeah, totally. And they were always like night owls practicing, and we were definitely like, 9 a.m., show up with your cup of coffee. But anyway, yeah, it worked out great. So we split a space with them. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and you produced that track along with Bora.
So, I would say mostly I mixed. Bora and I really mixed it because they had recorded it all ahead of time. But it's sort of a blurred line, I guess, between production and mixing to some extent.
Because you can mix and produce. If you add more stuff, you're producing.
Yeah, totally. And so I really focused and did pretty much the entirety of the instrumental, and then kind of ran out of time for the vocals. And Bora jumped in, and Bora's been really doing a lot more work with them too as well on some later tracks. But it was one of those songs. Keith sent me a bunch of their demos. Keith Reed, another member of Bellicose, not originally from Michigan, but a U of M music school, a classmate of Andrew's actually. And the two of them got to know each other because I think they were the night owls at the music school practice rooms. But yeah, he sent me a few of these songs, and that one I could not get it out of my head. Right? I just kept hearing it. And I kept hearing these little hints of LCD Sound System, and I love LCD Sound System, and I love the way that they recorded the drums, and I've always wanted to mix drums that were recorded like that. So I sort of insisted on it. I basically said, okay, well, this track I'm doing, and we'll take it from there.
Yeah, and knowing Shane, he was like, of course you can. So this next artist, the Carols, you picked these two songs to play on the show. I listened to them. I thought they were great. I don't know them, but I know they have Grand Rapids roots, University of Michigan roots. I know this album also dropped right around the same time as Good and Evil.
Yeah, so this like popped back up on my radar when I realized it was the 10-year anniversary of this release as well. And it's a band named The Carols, named after the desks that these guys were all grad students. And I went to Portland, Oregon. They were all at OHSU. Brought me out there basically to live there for like a month or so with them. And it was the first time I basically always wanted to produce music. I had gotten to know Anthony while still in Michigan. And I think he had always wanted to record a record. And he was like, I'm willing to bring you out to do it if you'll record it for us. And I was like, but I've never done this. So if you're willing to let me come for the first time and try to engineer this thing, mix it and produce it. And it was a lot of just like trial and error of where to put a microphone and hope for the best and just see what sounded right at the time and go with it and trust your gut. But yeah, Anthony, he had I think a couple different bands in Ann Arbor. Anthony Abraham and the Family Band was the one that I had always known. And he had just always been writing stuff, playing me songs. We'd hang out, and he has an incredible. You'll hear it, I think, in the songs, but his singing range is really cool. And he was really into the whole group of guys. It's him and then a guy named Travis Moshek and Will Giardino, both of whom are now professors in neurology. And Anthony is definitely headed that way as well. Though he does plan on recording some new music, it sounds like. So we'll be eager to hear more of that. You
really need to get a band together of all scientists.
Those do exist, and they play at conferences, and they normally are cover bands. But yeah, I think the cool thing was they were really into these bands like Animal Collective and Dirty Projectors and some really sonically experimental bands. And it was a lot of fun to just, even with limited equipment and resources, just kind of mess around with how to get the sounds you want and experiment and trial and error. We borrowed Charlene Kay's little mini Korg to do a lot of the work. In fact, I met Charlene through Anthony. That's how I ever got to know her in the first place. So he was definitely one of those kind of Ann Arbor music glue connectors, if you will.
And Charlene, if you don't know, is the vocals on Labyrinth on Miracle Musical and has a fantastic new album.
Yeah, and I think goes by Kay now. Just not to confuse anybody. Kaye, but yeah, yep. She's been writing and recording and releasing really awesome music for the last decade or so.
And really practicing dancing.
I haven't seen. Do I need to check out the videos?
Dude,
am I okay?
Unbelievable.
I was in one of them with Joe Dart. We were both in a Charlene Kay music video back in the day. Yeah.
Joe Dart, bass player from Wolfpack, for those keeping score at home. All right, let's rock these Vandals tracks. The first one you picked was Honey Please.
The Carols.
By the Carols.
Yeah.
I said Wolfpack, which is...
You said Vandals.
Oh, I said Vandals?
Yeah, which is fine because we just played. But anyway, yeah, the Carols. It's Carrels. And they actually just released this on Spotify, so you can listen to the entire EP there.
I will tweet it out for you, Ross. All right, the Carols, Honey Please on Treetown Sound. Hours always go so by with fast, yeah, I can't even talk with Ross and say hours just fly by, Ross, when you're in the studio. I could talk to you for hours and hours, and after the show, let's talk for hours and hours.
Yeah.
Except it won't be on the air. I really like the Carol songs, and I feel like I'm going to have to dive deep into that album now.
The whole EP is really cool. It's like one of the... I'm so happy they got it up on Spotify. And
yeah, right?
Because I think that, I think even like the way that a lot of Tally Hall music seems to have been a little bit ahead of its time, I think same thing goes for that. And, there was sort of this like prescription for writing a hit song, and it has just dwindled, and like the importance of it has dwindled and disappeared. And you've seen like if you look at the Wolfpack story, right? I mean, you kind of just see these bands now making the music they want to make and not caring about what it's supposed to sound like, and that's what's now, it's what people want to hear. And so, yeah, I think the world's ready for that EP.
People are either doing that or writing 15-second hooks for TikTok, so you just never know.
One or the other.
Well, I'm going to play one more song before we go to break. This is going to go directly into break. We're already pushed up against the hour, so we're just going to run with it. Another song that you produced. People love this, especially the Tally Hall fans.
Co-produced with two other very talented individuals.
With Joe and Bora.
This
is Miracle Musical. This is the B-side.
Yeah, this was like the bonus. This is kind of the bonus track.
The bonus Jonas track. This is Variations on a Cloud from Miracle Musical, co-produced by Ross Federman. It's going to go straight into break. Then we're going to come back and hear just a touch more Tally Hall. All of that on Ann Arbor's 107.1 right after this. Doing something I never do, going fresh out of break right into my voice because we're pushed up against the clock. I have Ross Federman at Tally Hall in studio. Ross, I'm super fired up for this Friday night for our DJ party. that is in downtown Ann Arbor on Washington Street. And I just learned that it was your idea to do the Hidden in the Sand music video.
Not necessarily to do a music video, but the idea for what the video ended up being.
You produced that?
No. And I certainly didn't animate it or anything. Just the concept.
Just the
all.
concept?
We were just brainstorming ideas, and yeah, that was the one we all liked.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, but it's cool. I mean, I think it's been very popular on YouTube, so it's fun to see that it's gotten some fans.
It is wildly popular on YouTube, and it's very like, it gives me that old Steamboat Mickey Mouse.
Yeah, and that was the idea, but like in a twisted kind of nightmarish. Yeah. I mean, honestly, not all that far off how I felt about Miracle Musical a little bit too, like this sort of nightmarish, twisted take on a Disney musical. Yeah,
I really hope one day Miracle Musical becomes an actual musical. I remember hearing rumblings that it was going to be.
I think there are probably a lot of rumblings all over the place.
So the last thing I'm going to nail you on before this interview is over is the new Tally Hall vinyls that are coming out.
Yeah.
There's all these Easter eggs.
On the I don't think on the vinyls necessarily.
Not on the vinyls.
I think the CDs, from what I've heard, have some Easter eggs because they're digital and you can hide them more easily.
Okay, and maybe even some hidden videos? Okay, we can't talk about that.
Can't confirm or deny that.
I can't confirm. Playing stuff backwards on the cassette tape?
That makes it no longer an Easter egg now.
Oh, fine.
That removes the entire... Think of an Easter egg hunt where your parents take you out and they're just like, there's some over here, there's some over there, and there's some over there. Go find the Easter eggs.
There's secret codes to unlock different things. There are Easter eggs deep into the words. Everywhere you can find them, there's stuff you can find. So if you're a big Tally Hall fan and you did order those stuff and you do discover them and put them on the internet first, you will be so cool because they are really hard to find. Might take a lifetime. Some of you might never find it. Pretty cool, Ross.
Yeah, and all credit to some of the guys at Needle Juice for coming up with some of the ideas.
No credit to them.
No, and I saw one of their artists' reel-to-reel tapes when I was searching for reel-to-reels earlier, and so
whoa.
Yeah, they are all over all these cool formats
music,
and reissues, and I
favorites,
want some Tally Hall music on tape,
and more.
So I hope we can do that.
Under the Radar Radio.
All right, Under the Radar Radio is up
Welcome to the
next.
show.